Yo, Coach BK. Today we're talking about how to overcome overwhelm. We're going to spend 20-30 minutes together talking about 3 different mental skills or 3 different life skills, however you want to look at that, in order to get our hands wrapped around being in the state of, kind of day-to-day, I'm overwhelmed today, or even life-wise, I'm overwhelmed, like I don't know how to breathe, okay? Those 2 things kind of go hand in hand on the daily. You can practice the things that are going to help on the daily. Helps with the life overwhelm. So wherever you find yourself, these skills are going to be beneficial to you. We need to take a step back first and kind of understand and maybe get a slightly different perspective on. We know the understanding of feeling overwhelmed. There's a lot of different things that go on in feeling overwhelmed. But do we think about being overwhelmed in terms of energy management? Is our energy scattered all over the place? Is that kind of why we're feeling overwhelmed? We can't focus some of our energies over here to get these things accomplished. We're just kind of like all over the place. So if we think about feeling overwhelmed, or the things that contribute to feeling overwhelmed as far as energy management, energy displaced, then we can kind of take a more objective mindset on how to manage this. Stress, having too many things to do, things outside of your control that have negatively impacted you, things that are either forcing you or resulting in you needing to do something different. Maybe you're not quite sure what to do. I'm thinking about all the stuff in 2020 that's happened in my life and kind of generalizing it, right? All of this stuff can feel overwhelming, can lead us into the state of almost paralyzation, feeling paralyzed because we are so overwhelmed. We're not quite sure what to do, or our energy is so scattered everywhere that it's hard to focus on one area. People pleasing, some of the personality quirks can lead to actions that we do that lead to being overwhelmed, not saying no, not having or holding healthy boundaries, taking things too personal. I do this a lot. Things are a little sideways, taking things a little too personal, or having a lot of stress going on in a little thing that, no big deal. You just really, it's just like another thing, fuel in the fire. So you overreact to that one small thing because all the other things are stressing you out. So taking things too personal or overreacting, not letting the little stuff go. And a bonus activity, we're going to talk about this fun little scale. So anyway, feeling overwhelmed can be very paralyzing, can kind of just take your power away. And I'd like to pose 3 things and a method of doing them that can help you gain control over that. Okay, so number 1, this is really important if we're talking about energy management, okay? Number 1 is being grounded, self-care, doing grounding activities. And you might ask, yo, coach, what in the world are you talking about? So if you're thinking about energy and all of that, think about the whole body. What we want to do, and when we're worried and we're anxious and we're just kind of overwhelmed, all the energy is kind of up here, right? We want to learn how to bring the energy down more into where we're stronger, down into our core, down towards our feet. So grounding activities, a simple one might be to walk barefoot on the ground. Runners know this. When you go running, it's a very grounding activity to run. Run happy, right? Things that help you to bring your energy down. Yoga helps to do that. Things that you utilize your feet and your legs, very grounding. People that like to work with their hands. So going out into the shop and working on the car, very grounding. going outside for a daily walk, connecting with people, very grounding. And what we want to do is we want to do a consistent daily self-care routine that's grounding, pulling your energy down. You're not thinking about or not trying to fix any of this stuff. This is very basic, fundamental skill of pulling your energy down so you're not just all over the place for no reason, right? All your energy is up here. We need to kind of consolidate it down here. The bonus with grounding activities is if you can combine a saying, a scripture, something that you believe in, a mantra, that makes this just, it's like the bam, like sprinkle it on there, bam. So if you were walking outside and you were praying to God, or walking outside on a daily, in the morning, and maybe memorizing one scripture a day. You write that scripture down and you're reading it daily. I go running, and when I'm running, I tell myself, I am stronger, I am stronger, I am stronger, I am stronger. That's a mantra that can help pull energy down and really instill inside your psyche, okay, yeah, I got this. Okay. There's a lot of different kind of grounding activities that you can do. One of the things that the 30-day challenge that I've put together, this She-Wolf challenge, is throwing different ideas at you to experiment, to find, try, and see how it goes. Get outside your comfort zone a little bit and see if you can find, tune up, tweak up your daily activities to add in grounding, daily, consistent self-care. It makes a world of difference. It helps you bring stuff back down, and then like, okay, I got this hat on, I can go. Okay. In this way, this daily ritual helps to take care of the daily kind of overwhelm, and then also kind of the life overwhelm as well. And it just makes you more resilient to the things that go on the daily. The second mental skill that we can focus on and work on, and it's very basic foundation stuff, is to focus on non-negotiables. We want to be very consistent with these. This is a big thing that you heard on number 1, being consistent. But focusing on the non-negotiables, identifying those, writing them down. It's another reason why in this book there is a section on writing your non-negotiables down, identifying them through the week. So a little bit of space here. Identifying through the week, what are my non-negotiables? What are the things that I have to do? I have to go to work, so I'm feed the kids. I have to do this. Okay, what are the non-negotiables? Are we able to identify those? Really isolate them and write them down? Are we just at the whim of life? Is this what we need to do to gain a little bit of control? Pull that energy back in. What do I have to do? When the act of writing them down, then you have better discernment on when you say, no, I can't do that right now. I'm sorry. You don't even need to say you're sorry. No, I can't do that right now. Or being able to draw better boundaries with yourself. Hey, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. No, I can't do that. I need to focus on this. My energy is really kind of like I only have, space and ability to do these. I can't do that. I need to say no to myself on that, or I need to say no to somebody else on that. Okay. If you can identify what those non-negotiables are, yes, awesome. And then I would challenge you to take that a step further. Are these just surviving non-negotiables? You get to work, have gas in the car to get to work. I'm just having some sort of food. Or are you setting these non-negotiables towards thriving, goal chasing? So I have my lunch packed, but it's not pizza. It's energy dense food. So see there's just surviving, non-negotiable, or thriving, non-negotiable. And it's can be easy to make that shift just with a little bit of education, challenge from others or yourself on, do I need to do things a little different? Is this not resulting in a result that I want for myself? Or am I getting feedback from somebody else that this is not working for them as well as what it could? You can make a shift on your non-negotiables to bounce from just surviving to thriving, goal chasing. And sometimes just a little mental thought, or look in this book that I created, this playbook, there's some ideas on how to do things a little different. Get outside your comfort zone just enough to do things a little different without frying your wiring. Because when we're overwhelmed, we really might not benefit from really changing it up. Some of us need that, and some of us just need little subtle tweaks. Okay, I'm here, I'm working, I'm mostly comfortable. Now I'm getting a little more comfortable. Now I'm getting a little more comfortable. And the skill set, being consistent, doing that grounding self-care activity, focusing on the non-negotiables, the ones hopefully that result in us thriving. Sometimes we need help with identifying those. That's where a friend, mom and dad, a trusted coworker, coach, group. Sometimes we need a little bit of feedback on, I see you doing this. Do you actually need to be doing this? You say you want this, but I see you doing this and it's resulting in this. Are you sure that's working for you? Number 3, consistent work on smaller goals. And this is probably, this is when you're really overwhelmed. And so 2020, the state that we're in right now is kind of weird, with election stuff and COVID stuff and just economic stuff. So if you're thinking about a really big goal, so you had a really big goal next year and you're not quite sure if it's even going to happen. And so it's really hard and can be very overwhelming and very paralyzing to think about that really big goal. What we need to do is to focus on the smaller goals. More attainable, more realistic, less pushing yourself outside the comfort zone. Okay? But we want to be smart and we want to be smart and strategic about the smaller goals, because we want to make sure that yes, they're attainable, but they push us outside our comfort zone just enough, and that they are an investment in the bigger goal. We don't want to be doing things just to be working. And this is the same mentality as surviving, thriving. We want our smaller goals to be a investment of the big goal, the big picture, aligning to where you really want to go. So we look off in the distance, we're like, yeah. But right now it's super duper foggy, coach. It's BK, it's super foggy. Like, okay, we kind of know what's out there. We can look back and think that's how it should be. We're not quite sure if that's how it's going to be now, but we can use that as a starting point. Now we make our smaller goals and we get to work, and we're consistent, and we make certain things non-negotiables, right? So consistent work on smaller goals, slightly outside our comfort zone, to learn, become more consistent, change and evolve, maybe at a smaller pace, but that's okay, right? And then again, if we need help, a different perspective on how we're doing with these goals or what smaller goals we need to seek those out. Because really, if we're overwhelmed and we're kind of stuck, somebody else's perspective, somebody else's support, somebody else's just a smidge can make a world of difference. You can be like, oh, eyeballs are on now, right? Okay. So as a big bonus, and this is where one of the things that I do in my 30-day challenges is I give nuggets of education to help with motivation on things to do different. So we're, constantly evolving and tweaking our self coaching, our self life skills, our self health coaching skills. Okay, we're always trying to shepherd ourselves to evolve and grow. Okay, in these 1, 2, and 3, say you're like, okay, whatever. Yes, I'm on board. All of that. Grounding activity, focusing on non-negotiables, and consistent smaller goals. It is very beneficial to incorporate exercise into this kind of realm. Okay, what you're doing on the daily. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half at the gym every time. It can be 10 sit-ups, 10 push-ups, 10 jumping jacks, or 100 of each. Things that are exercise and things that result in you becoming stronger are game changers, complete game changers, because when you feel stronger, you feel more capable. And so then you can work on some of the other things that you need to do. So you cultivate more strength and capability here. In the strength where it's a little bit easier, I mean, seriously, just about anybody can do push-ups against a wall, against a chair, on the ground, modified. You can do things to make you stronger, and you borrow from there and you take somewhere else. But here's the wicked awesome thing. A little bit of education for you guys that I've pulled out of some of the 30-day challenges that we do. Exercise and intimate relations that result in orgasm result in oxytocin. And I'm going to be doing a longer talk about oxytocin. This stuff is like super stinking cool, and we don't really quite understand its role in our survival, our happiness, our bumping from surviving to thriving. So oxytocin is not just a hormone. It does a lot of other things. And one of the things that it does is it helps us to feel safe and secure, and highly anti-inflammatory compound. And it also helps us manage stress better in its molecular component, the physiological results that it has in our body. So strength training, exercising, and then intimate relations results in a release of oxytocin. Boom. Okay, that's why we have makeup sex. That's why we feel a lot better after we've exercised. Okay. So let's recap on how to wrap our hands around feeling overwhelmed. Okay. We need to have a daily practice of grounding, self-care, grounding ourselves. How are we going to do that? Are we going to sit and pray every morning or day or whatever? Are we going to go out for a walk and talk to God, or do something spiritual or faith-based, or trying to bring your heart and your soul into this movement? Very awesome to do those two kinds of things. Grounding activity done consistently can really help with feeling overwhelmed on the daily. Number 2, focusing on non-negotiables. Identifying what those are, and I hope and pray that your non-negotiables are going into this thriving idea, not just surviving, thriving. And then number 3, consistent work on smaller goals that invest in your bigger goals. Okay? I teach and encourage and throw out education and different ideas for all of this stuff in the 30-day programs that we do. I have a playbook for you to help you practice this, to practice these skills. Better energy management, self-management. And so then once we are better at these things, then we can tackle some of the issues that we have. We can feel less paralyzed, so we feel more creative and capable. We can feel strong enough to incorporate somebody else's help. Okay, consistency really helps a lot. So even if you're having a low day, you got this playbook and you're like, okay, I don't feel capable today, but I'm still going to da-da-da-da-da. Boom, there you go. Anyway, oh, your bonus. Bonus. My apologies for not hitting that mute button sooner. Bonus. This is something that I listened to a podcast, and it was, she coined it, she's a marriage counselor, and she was talking about the anger scale, but I wanted to change the words a little bit because I didn't want to focus on anger, and I thought it was useful to focus on something else, because yes, anger is legit, and it's fine to do that, but I didn't want it to be just a useful skill when you're angry. Okay, I wanted it to be a skill of when to give a hoot, how many hoots to give, right? And so what it is a scale from 0 to 10, and just the activity of identifying where this particular thing is on a numbered scale helps you to get out of emotion and to get out of reaction and get into a different part of your brain, get into logical thinking, and things automatically start to dissipate. Your brain comes online in a different way. And so your reactivity will shift into, do I need to be creative about this? Do I really need to give a hoot about this? What do I need to do? What do I don't need to do? Do I just set this on the back burner? And that can really help with overwhelm. And if you learn how to incorporate this into your life on the daily, as far as a mental habit that you can do, and then hopefully a mental habit that becomes default, becomes automatic. Beautiful. So it's kind of like a self-challenge type of idea. And this is super cool, and it goes into another life skill, mental skill that I teach in a 30-day challenge, and that's to challenge yourself on a number of different ways. On, say, an episode happens and it's a question thought process to help you look at it differently, to help you respond, react differently, more empowering, in getting all different parts of you and your brain and your being, spiritual, mental, emotional, etc., all back online. And this is kind of a beginning step of that. So 0 to 10 on how many hoots to give. Say somebody says something to you, right? How many hoots do I give to this? And you write this stuff down for you, because everybody's going to be a little different on where their line is at on how much do I engage with this or not. So 5, 6, about 6 is kind of my number on where I'd like to be on giving some hoots, right? And that doesn't mean that I go direct, and say, take care of it. I might write it down in my journal. So if it's 5, 6, 5, I'm probably going to write it down just to investigate. 6, I might put it on my to-do list if it relates to some of my non-negotiables that I've put in here for the week or the month, especially if it's with someone that I'm team working with to accomplish things. See that everything is going to be a little different based on the scenario. Okay. So if one person said the same thing, but I have nothing to do with them much, and I can just kind of, I don't need to see you and talk to you and work with you for a bit anyway. So that doesn't really matter. I don't need to give a hoot about that at all right now. Okay. And so it'd be more down here in the lower end. I might take mental note of it and see if it becomes a habit or a pattern. But anyway, so 6 and up, when we're talking about the severity of things, up here around 8, I'm going to be like, okay, it's causing me to not eat, sleep, causing me to be sick. For me, I have a heart condition, so if it bumps me into AFib, it's a little bit higher up here because that means it has a lot of emotional charge to it. And so I'll write it down, and I want to go through my challenge thought processes to see, is this me? Is this something that I need to do for me? Is this something that I need to manage myself? Or do I need to address this emotional trigger with somebody else? Is the person that said something or whatever and resulted in this trigger, do I need to teamwork with them to figure out how to change the game up? Or do I need to do it myself? Right? Mind your business. Per TikTok. Okay. 10, life, death, right? This is important, right? And it's interesting how many things are in here. But anyway, okay. This is a give a hoot scale. So I would challenge you to write it down and investigate it. And maybe, put it on your desk for a second. If you're finding yourself right now very reactive and then later on you're like, I totally blew that out of proportion. Dang it. And if you find yourself apologizing for, shit, sorry, my bad. I shouldn't have done that. I should have taken a pause. I should have breathed. I should have paused for a second. You might want to practice this a little bit. Write it down on a piece of paper. Stick it somewhere. And really get into the habit of something happens, pause. Take some breaths. Take 5 minutes. Get out your wee little scale and be like, okay, how many hoots do I really need to give to this? This investigative process will bring more online, and you'll be able to make better discernment on what you should be doing so you can get back to your non-negotiables, your consistent activity, your consistent work on smaller goals that are going to feed into the bigger thing. And you, in this way, can get a handle on the overwhelm and then better handle the things that are coming your way at lightning speed sometimes. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. This is part of the education that goes along with my coaching and some of the 30-day challenges that we do. So if you find yourself interested and want to know more, hit me up. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great day.